Hi everyone, it's Dali here. I just wanted to do a very quick video showing you this new kit we've got. It's called Vintage Coasters. It's on sale, and you get your 8x8, which is actually from the ShokART collection, Journal Flowers. You get your 4 wooden coasters, so you can either make a set of 2, you can make a set of whatever, you can use it in mixed media. And then we've also given you the 4 bases as well. These are cool bases, all cut so they fit perfectly. You're also going to get a 50mm decoupage varnish and glue, which means that you can varnish these, and you can actually put your cup on there. Always be careful, because sometimes, as you know, sometimes if you've got something sticky on the bottom of your cup, it will stick to the coaster. You also will get a little sanding block to sand, and that's your little set there. Now we've got some made before, so you can see, but I'm going to show you how to do one so that you can see them. They're absolutely beautiful. These have been varnished. They're really a matte finish. If you wanted a glossy finish, then you use a different decoupage medium or use one of your glossy finishes. You could even resin them. It's up to you how you want to do that. Now I've left them in their raw form. You can paint these if you want with one of your paints as well. So let me show you how to make one. So I've actually got some decoupage medium here, which is a slightly bigger pot. As I've got it open, I'm going to use that. Okay, let me take one of the coasters and take one of the cork bases. So that's all we need for this exercise. Right, now the way this has been designed, let me just bring them back again, is that you can actually get 4 coasters out of this piece without any trouble. Okay, so it's up to you what images you want. So think about that when you lay these out. So I would go for this image in the corner, so I'm going to put one there. I'd go for this image in this corner, put one there, and then I'd go for these 2 here. Now you could do one there, and then, you know, move that up or down, just put that one there. So if you wanted a little bit more of this flower, it really is up to you. So, but I'm going to take this one, I think I'm going to do this corner here. Okay, so it's exactly what I'm going to do. So the best way for me to do that is, as I want this image to be on top, so we want it to be like this. So I know that. So that's the image I want. Now you could use the other side. The other side is different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the glue onto my MDF. So this is the decoupage glue. So I'm just going to use a brush, and I'm just going to use this bigger pot, and all I'm doing is just putting that on. Doesn't matter how you put that on. Try to keep away from the edges, because you don't want your paper to stick to the edges. But if you get some on, don't worry. It's easier probably just to lift it and do it, or move your paper would be a better suggestion, otherwise you're going to stick it to the paper. So now you will know that MDF does absorb, but as this is a glue varnish, it's not a problem at all. Now if you want really good adhesive, then you can always put it on the paper as well. You could also primer these, so that would mean that you wouldn't absorb as much glue. But to be honest, this is a really good glue and varnish from, it's the same thing we use for rice papers as well. So I know I want this corner here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit this here. I'm doing it as close to the edge as I can. One, it will save me some paper. And then secondly, it means that you can get as many images and the bits that you want. So I'm just going to turn that over. Now the easiest thing to do now for me is to cut this, because it's easier then for me to sand it. Now I would wait a little bit, and camera, sorry, I just want to go out. I would wait a little bit for it to dry properly. Now if you're having any adhesion problems, then I would just put a little bit more on. So that's your paper, so you can get all your other ones out of that. So if you've got any problems, all I would do is I would go in, I might even put some on the paper here, and that way you've got really nice adhesion. And it'll take a while to dry, so there we go. If you want to put something stronger on, then obviously put something stronger on, because obviously on the MDF it does dry really quickly. And just make sure, turn it over, because that's the easiest way for you to do it. Okay, so I think having done this, I think I would put it on the paper because I think you're going to get a better adhesion on the paper because the MDF is absorbing too much of it. Yeah. So there you've got your, rub that down really, really well. I mean, you can leave these, you could do all 4, let them dry, then go back to the first one that you started, yeah? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my, you'll get this in your kit, and I'm just going to take that around. It takes a little bit of effort, but, and then what happens is it will start to come away by itself. And I love this white edge it gives as well. So it takes a little bit of time. Don't pull at it, because if you pull at it you could tear the paper. So it's a really easy thing to do. Just keep going, just like this, and then you'll see that this will just start to come away. Now, like I said, don't tear it, but now if you have anything where you feel, oh, it's lifting still, like here, then just go in at the end with your glue again and just put that down, because all it is we're not letting it dry enough. Yeah, so that will work once you let it dry properly. And then you keep going around your coaster. It takes a little bit of time, but once it's done you'll see it's really, really nice. And I just sort of fold it back again, and then you just keep going. And once you've done it all, and I won't do any, I don't want to do it all for you. Once you've done it all, then you'll have this really nice edge on all of it, yeah? And then what I'll do is I'll post some pictures of that, and then what you'll have is the coasters that look like that. And what I would suggest is you stick all this down again with your just takes a little bit of time to do this bit. This is the hardest bit I always find. The paper's pretty thick. I'm thinking I might use a harder sanding paper and give you a harder sanding paper, because I think this is too soft. But you get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. So you can see that that's coming along really well. I'm just having a look if I've got another sanding block here, but I haven't. So just carry on with it, and you will get there. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get there? But you will get there. I think this is too soft.
The coarser one.
You got one up here? No, don't think so. Paul's just going to check for me. But I'm going to carry on with this one. So it's fine, it's just taking a little bit more time. And in fact, it's good to have the softer one in one respect, because you're less likely to tear your paper. Because sometimes what you do is it's too rough, and then that's not so good. So I think I'm okay with this, Paul. So there we go. And you'll see how nice an edge that is now. So you can see how that's coming along. Thank you. Always find me a coarser one. So we have got coarser ones. Let's see if this is a bit better. Because I was going to put the coarser one in, and then Paul felt that it might be a bit too much. I think we might have to. So I'll probably change that in the kit. But you see what happens with the coarser one is you're ruining the paper. And if you go over the top, you're going to ruin your edge. So I think I'm going to stick with the less one and persevere, because I think if you do that, you've got more chance of not ruining your coaster. And that was what I was afraid of. When you've got something too coarse, too rough, I should say, it's going to ruin it. So all you're doing is just rubbing it across that edge. And even if you get a little bit of a vintage, I mean, these are meant to be like a vintage finish. There you go. So you can see how that's coming on. I just love this effect. And what I would do is I would stick it down again if you've got anything that you're worried about. Just keep going on that. This is so soft, so if you've even got problems, it's easy to use. And I've given them in smaller pieces so that you could have them. Okay? And then, I mean, this, there you go. So it's really, really beautiful on the edges. I love this. You see how it's coming along now. And then carry on to the edge. Sometimes it's nice to do the outline, then you can see where you're at. And I love this because it's got a really nice white core about it. And then what I'm going to do is as you can see, it's lifting there. So what we want to do is put some more on there, because what you don't want to do is let it lift. And this is just about drying it. So if you dry it, it would be really nice. Oops. There we go. So we're still going on with that. Look how beautiful that's looking now. And there we go. So you see, if you took something a bit stronger, you would actually ruin your paper. And then I am going to slightly take it down a little bit. So I'm just pulling it down. Now the other way a lot of people do it is they push it down like this, so that you can get a better adhesion as well. So just take your time, let it all dry. I'm just doing it very quickly for you so you can see exactly what that's like. There you go. So I'm going to just take that one a bit over here. It is really thick paper as well, so just bear that in mind. So you see, you can get it. It just takes a little bit of time. This is the hard bit, I always say. I just love the effect that you get though. And I like to take mine off the edges. And then when you've done it, you'll see how lovely that edge is now. Okay. Now you want to make sure there's none of the sandpaper on that. And just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So what you want to do now is make sure that you've got all your paper off the edges. Like that. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? Now you'll see that this isn't lifting anywhere. Yep. Now to make sure that doesn't lift anywhere, what you can do, I'm just going to put a piece of card down there because it's got all this bits there, is also you need to adhere this. Now you can use the same glue to adhere this. It just takes a little bit of time. Now if you want to use something stronger like a heavy body gel, then you can do so. And we could do all this with a heavy body gel, but then it wouldn't always, I don't know how that would come up as a varnish, you see, but I could do all the rest like this. So let's just put a little bit more on there because the cork is actually not absorbing it, so that's good. And then obviously make it as much in the centre, and it's nice when you've got wet glue to make sure. And then you need to obviously leave that, put any on the excess. You could paint your coasters first, and then you can move that around, and then that will dry in place. And in fact, that's not moving already. So then what we do is, as a final step, we would, now you could take a distress ink and then distress the edge on that if you wanted to. Now if you do that, make sure it's dry when you put the varnish on, otherwise what's going to happen is, so you could go just on the edges and just make that a little bit more browner. Yeah, so if you wanted to, just gives it that little bit of an edge. But then just make sure that you dry it properly, and I'm just going to show you how to do the varnish. Just go in one direction, then if you've got any streaks, then it should be fine, and when it dries, it will dry as a matte finish, and it'll give you these beautiful vintage, let me see, there you go. I'm so pleased, it just comes out so beautiful, and it's so nice. And then you've got a nice set of 4 coasters. When this dries, and you can have like use your brush, that's not going to give you any streaks or anything. And then when that dries, that just comes out as such a beautiful little piece. So you're going to get your coasters, you're going to get your paper, and then when that dries, let me show you. So you've got all of that. It's really pretty. A little bit of paper there, so just take that away if you don't do it now, really. And the varnish doesn't take long to dry, but I would just leave it for a few minutes. So I'd leave it overnight just to be safe than be sorry. So don't start sticking your hot cups on it or anything. So when that's dry, that'll become clear, and then you'll get this really nice matte finish as well. So that's just how to make your coasters in your coaster kit. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. Bye.